I loved the fighting in here. It's big and open and fairly flat, but there weren't the long sight lines because of all the destroyed planes everywhere. And like all of them, you can go in. You couldn't like go on top of most of them, which was nice. It's not a flat POI, but there are little hills. And even just those little variations make a big difference in cutting line of sight, getting some really fun snipes. I loved Boneyard so much.
Activision devs do not play their own game.
3,000 devs can't figure out how to add a reconnect feature to a AAA title, I guess. I don't know.
Because Infinity Ward doesn't tell their consumers anything.
Maybe that'll take some of the sweats away from Shoot House.
You can cope about that, for sure.
Thanks for tweeting, at least. Thanks for doing more than Infinity Ward has done. They just keep tweeting about the soccer bundles in the store.
Things that are bad. We got a couple words. Why don't you kick it off, Tanner?
This is going to be a longer section than the first part you guys heard.
Change it, obviously, of course. We are live, boys and girls. Welcome to Dropshot. Call of Duty Podcast, episode number 410. My name is Casey, also known as Razinon. Today I'm joined by Tanner.
I'm here, yeah.
He's here. He's
easy.
And he's ready to... They've reclaimed that word, by the way. I think we could say that.
Well, I don't think so.
I'm not gonna test it, but I think we could. But anyways, it doesn't matter.
Dude, wait, I was in Claremont last night, and there was an ad up. Like in the packing house there, they let people put ads up, and there was an ad up for people looking for a roommate. And it said, "We are 3 queers looking for a roommate in a house in Claremont." And it was just, it made me laugh because like it's just funny how they say we are 3 queers looking for a roommate. It was funny. Anyways,
yeah,
we love the queers. It was just funny.
Yeah, shout out to the queers. Yeah, for sure.
Made me laugh.
It's totally fun. Anyways, welcome to the show. Today, we will not be doing discourse on the reclamation of former slurs. Instead, we're going to be doing a special edition, fun and exciting episode, the likes of which we have actually never done before. In the 5 years almost or so, we've had this program. And what that is a tier list.
Oh, wow.
Right. Yes. So I had this idea originally a couple weeks ago, and Pulse Check stole the idea from me.
Uh-huh.
That's correct, yeah. And they did something similar to what we're going to do, which is basically they took every big map Warzone POI, and then they did like a bracket, like a tournament. So they said, like whatever, this
little tourney,
POI versus that one, which one wins, and then they kept going until they found the best one. That was a bit of a perversion of the original idea I had, which was just to do basically a tier list of those POIs. Now, unfortunately, none existed on the internet, at least up to my standards. So I went on tiermaker.com and I constructed one myself.
Yeah.
So we have every singular
it's
POI
so rude. Yeah.
With images as well, and they're color coded based on the map that they come from, which is going to be helpful. And what we're going to do is do that now. So for the rest of the pod, we're going to have the website pulled up. So if you wanted to watch, you would be able to see the pictures of the POIs that we're discussing in case you needed a little visual refresher. However, you should be fine listening only to this if you've been playing Warzone for a while. So we're going to go through every one. We're going to put them in the tier list, and then off we go. Now, in the show notes, we will have the tier maker linked for you so you can make one yourself. Don't show that, and I'll edit that out. Or I'll doctor it to say my name, actually.
Your name's not Jordan K?
No.
Oh.
And that was That was a typo. I meant to type Razinon, but it said Jordan Kin instead.
Yeah.
But I'll edit all that out. So anyways, yeah, we'll have the original for you guys if you want to make your own tier list or share it with your friends or whatever. And then also we will have an image of Tanner's completed tier list where he ranks everything, and then mine as well. Because Tanner and I are probably going to broadly agree on most of these, but not like exactly where. So, you know, Tanner might think a POI is an A, I might think it's a B, whatever. So we'll have two separate tier lists, but the one that will be shown on screen today as we do a work in progress is going to be Tanner's. But again, if you want to see just mine or just his, or make your own, I'll have links to all three of those things in the show notes for you guys. The reason we're doing this week is because there isn't anything really else for us to talk about today.
Game sucks.
Well, game is the same as it was 2 weeks ago, basically. That's kind of what happened. If you listen to our last episode, you'll know, nothing changed. So there isn't really anything new to talk about today anyway. So we figured a fun little episode of this type now would be a good time to do it. Also, I would like to add, if at the end of this episode you really enjoyed it and you want more of this type of content, I can do that. So if we want to do like resurgence maps, POIs tier list or bracket,
yeah,
you'd have to let us know which one you'd prefer as well. Then we can do an episode on that in the future. Or Warzone meta weapons tier list. We could do that as well.
Yeah.
I think all of that could be really fun, but that's up to you guys more than us. If none of you want to hear an episode like that, then we probably won't do it. But if you do, then, we can. So let us know. But yeah, other than that, as far as announcements go, next week, our schedule is going to be a little different than normal. I think we're still going to do Thursday, Saturday as the days of the podcast. But if you want to watch live, or if you listen to the early access right away, keep in mind, it's going to be coming at a little bit of a different time, probably, almost certainly. So follow us on Twitter at the Dropshot Pod, or join the Discord. And every Monday, like this Monday, we will post our schedule for the week of when the live streams are happening, and therefore when you can expect uploads. Because it's going to be different than normal, I think, next week. So we'll try and remind you guys about that again at the end of the episode. But other than that, I think that's it. No new Patreon episodes besides the ones we talked about on Thursday. And I think we're ready to get started.
Yeah, I think so. Kind of what you said. Raz did DM me when we started the episode and said instead of talking to me, he DM'd me and he said, "Yeah, if you guys want like a gun list or like Resurgence POI, I can make that too." So I was like, "Okay, yeah, I don't know why you're DMing me, Raz, because
I'm very good at multitasking."
List. Yeah, you are. But anyways, yeah. I also want to say, so with some of these, it's gonna. So we're like starting with Verdansk, and it'll be Verdansk 84. Half of them, I'm not going to remember the differences in the two, They're going to be like the same thing.
Yeah.
So we're going to throw that out there right now. Somebody's going to say, so like right now, for example, I'm looking and I see train station. So train station in Verdansk, train station in Verdansk 84. I don't remember if they were different. I don't. I remember I always loved train station, but I don't remember if they were different. I think maybe in Caldera they opened it up more or something. So that's going to be a slight problem because we don't remember the differences of all of those. But that will only be the case for the Verdansk ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I actually don't know. All I know is we ended up landing train a lot more, I think, in Verdansk 84. So maybe it was different. Maybe they opened it up more. I don't remember. But that's going to happen. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, that is going to happen. I will also add, like Stadium, for example, even before Verdansk 84, that went from being closed to open. So,
yeah,
right?
It did. That happened in a season 84. Of Verdansk. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Season
that's another thing to keep in mind too, is I think what we'll do is we will rank each POI based on its best iteration in cases like that. I don't know if there are going to be terribly many examples of that. Because, yeah. But, and then another caveat as well. A lot of these POIs, I'm not going to remember almost at all. Because that's how everyone plays Warzone. They have their favorite, you know, areas, and therefore they landed at them a lot. So they're very familiar with them and they're going to remember them a lot. But then there are other POIs that, you know, you just didn't like that much, or they were kind of whatever, middling. So we didn't land there very much. So we're not going to remember them very much. So keep that in mind as well and stay mad about it. We have links to every map pulled up ourselves as well. So hopefully we won't forget too many, but I'm sure I'll forget some. So without further ado, let's get started. We're going to go in order. So we're going to do each map's POI, all the POIs for each map, and then move to another map. That's how we've constructed this. So starting at the top, we have downtown.
Oh boy, not off to a great start, buddy.
So we're not off to a great start. This is so all the purple names here are for original Verdansk. So we're starting with the OG Verdansk POIs, starting with downtown. Now here are the tiers we have, by the way: S, A, B, C, D, and miserable. So those are the rankings.
Yeah.
Where does downtown sit, boy?
So yeah, downtown's really bad. Miserable though, that's going to be saved for, I mean, like we're talking Castle on Ashika. It is miserable is reserved for the worst, the very few select worst POIs, right? So downtown is awful. It always has been. It was in 84. It was in OG Verdansk. It's weird too because like downtown in that game felt so much worse than how it does in this game. Like this game, you have to play downtown a lot. I think it's that game had too many buildings that were very tall, or maybe it's like where they were laid out. I don't know what it was, but or it actually could have been one-shot snipers too. If you ran anywhere in downtown, you'd get sniped from some guy on a roof with a Kar 98. I don't know. But downtown was terrible, and I think I'd put it at D tier.
So the thing for me is the 90% of downtown, I agree, belongs in D tier. However, there were some buildings that were right next to stadium, and I actually kind of liked those areas. I kind of liked those buildings. Those ones weren't like giga tall, and it was also not in the middle of a bunch of other tall buildings. So it actually wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
But everywhere else in downtown was just awful. Like central downtown, see ya.
Yeah, terrible.
That I would probably put in miserable. But because there's like those good areas and like where the chopper is, that little field, like that place wasn't a great area.
See, I don't even think
so bad, you know.
I don't even think of downtown when I think of that area. I get what you're saying, yeah, but it's like I wouldn't even classify that as downtown, even though it is like technically part of the downtown. Because you can do that for a lot of POIs, for sure. Like things on the outer edge that wouldn't necessarily be, you know, for that. But yeah, I'm going D tier for downtown. You make a good point, but it's a bad POI.
It is ultimately a bad POI. I, however, am putting this in C tier.
That's interesting. You're probably the biggest downtown hater I've ever met, so that's interesting. You're only putting it in C.
Yeah, well, yeah. Anyway, let's move on. The next one is, okay, so our orders are a little different. That's fine. I'll just go off yours. Stadium.
Stadium, yeah.
Stadium. Oh, boy. Stadium. Okay, so Stadium... And again, we're going to say stadium once the hatch was opened.
Yeah.
I thought this POI was fine. It was a decent drop / regain spot. Oh, I think the loot was only good in 84. Yeah, see,
the
this
loot
is where
wasn't
I'm starting
good there.
To forget.
It was a hot drop though. It was a hot drop. It was a fun area to land and fight off rip, I feel.
It was fun. Yeah, it was. The problem with it was, though, that like in the mid game, it was considerably worse because people would put claymores on the rappels and then just sit up there and snipe.
It's a great point. There was only one way up there, basically, and that was a helicopter. If you didn't take those zips up.
Or the zips. Yeah, exactly. So, like the field on the field was fun. Like that was like B tier. But like the top of it, D tier. So again, where does it go ultimately? I would say ultimately, most of the time I interacted with Stadium, it was actually in mid and therefore not the bad part. So I think I give Stadium a C.
I'm going to go B, I think, for this, because C to me is going to be, I think, more reserved for POIs that are just not bad, but they're just boring, forgetful, you know, things like that. And Stadium it's not either of those things. And it wasn't a terrible POI, so I'm going B for it.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. By the way, on the row, I'm going to personally order mine from best to worst. So like I think Stadium's better than Downtown, so I'm putting Stadium left of Downtown.
I see. Okay. There's
so
that, huh? All right.
Yeah.
You're getting crazy, man.
Yeah. So what do we have here next?
Promenade West.
West. Okay. So I get these mixed up. Let me see.
Promenade West, I believe. Promenade West is the one that's not as bad because it's
not
closer
nearly
to
as bad.
Yeah. It's bad.
And the buildings weren't shit.
Yeah. Well, they were, but less of them, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Prom West. It had the gas station there. It had
fire station.
Very short buildings. There wasn't much going on at Prom West. That was the thing about it to me.
Yeah.
I actually didn't find this POI to be nearly as bad as Prom East. When I think of Promenade, I think of Promenade East.
Exactly.
Which was the fucking worst.
Yeah.
And I ruined it.
It was
but Prom
awful.
West, just nothing going on. I give it a C. It's just mid. It was like whatever. I don't know.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I have no strong
C.
feelings about it.
Yeah, we're Prom haters, but Prom West, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not an area we would ever really choose to go. It actually was kind of a good rotate out of train station. If you remember, we'd often go from train, then go to fire at Prom West, loot around. Yep. There was often a buy station right at fire station there, I believe. We'd fight in that area, and then rotate out from there. And unfortunately, have to rotate through Prom East, which we'll get to. But yeah, I'm gonna go with C tier for Prom West.
Yeah, same here.
Then Promenade East.
And then next is Promenade East. This POI was a microcosm of the worst parts of downtown because all those stupid buildings, they were the worst. You'd get on a nasty head glitch if you were on top of them or in the cubbies. There's only one way up, which is a narrow little stupid staircase. There were a lot of them. If you drove like through the middle of Prom East, you would just be getting shot at by everyone.
Yeah.
On the roofs, in those cubbies. Terrible, awful POI with no redeeming qualities. There was nothing good about it. Even looting it, if it was empty, sucked because it was such an awkward building layout. You would like run up 2 flights of stairs and then, wow, there's 1 bedroom and a bathroom. So there's 1 chest. Cool. So then I open the 1 chest, I get $10. And then I run up another 4 flights of stairs like an asshole and then get to open another 2nd chest. It wasn't even good to loot. There was nothing good, or it looked bad also. Nothing was good about this POI. This belongs squarely in the miserable category.
Yeah, this Prom East deserves to be in miserable for sure. Also, going up those staircases, that is a spot where the map was really dark. And again, this is probably where I'm getting confused with Verdansk and Verdansk 84. I don't remember which one had worse visibility. Well, so when did the black skin come out that everyone used? So that I feel like that was more in Verdansk 84. Rose skin.
It was.
You know, I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to
I think
just
it was
knock it out of the
Verdansk.
way because there's no point. I'm just going to put Promise from Verdansk 84 in there as well because it's also not good. So we're not going to talk about it there. It's a terrible POI.
Yeah, that's
let's just get
worth
it out of the
doing,
way.
yeah.
Put them both
Yeah.
in miserable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like, and then there were a lot of rats in Verdansk too. It felt like people would camp those bathrooms. They would put like claymores or proxy mines and camp in there. It was very weird. Not a fun
Very
area to
strange.
fight. Terrible buildings. Yeah, really bad POI. Miserable. Now we're getting to an interesting one, man. We got OG Verdansk Superstore.
OG Verdansk Superstore. Yeah. Wow. Oh my goodness. Okay. I should have done these in alphabetical order, by the way. I don't know why I didn't. That was a mistake on my part. Yeah, I should have done that. So L me, L creator of this tier list, which is me.
The rest of them are. Why is regular Verdansk not? Weird.
I just dropped the ball.
Yeah, you did drop the ball a lot.
So Verdansk Superstore. A lot of people are gonna want to put this in S tier.
Yep.
This was the hot drop spot. It's maybe the most nostalgic Verdansk POI in the game, popularized by streamers all over. Now, there was a time when Superstore went from being a POI to being the POI because they added like $1 million to everything in there.
Yes.
I don't know if that occurred in 84 or before.
I don't remember.
I don't either. I will say this. I thought it was a good POI. It was always hot. I like that there existed hot drops once upon a time. F's in the chat for hot drops on BR maps. And it had that buy station that was fairly safe, but not too safe out front. It had a ton of money, a ton of loot. The gunfights inside could be good or could be bad because there were areas like the little office rooms on like the second floor that people could really dunk on you from. I thought it was very solid. I don't give it S tier though. For me, it's an A. Good POI. You know what you're getting yourself into. But I think there are better POIs.
It was really fun to fight there. My biggest thing always was it was always way too dark. If Superstore existed now in Urzikstan, where they have mostly figured out the lighting inside of buildings and it's good for the most part, that would take this to an S tier for me, I think. But yeah, it's just inside was way too dark, like so many areas were in Verdansk in general. Yeah, I'm kind of trying to decide between A and B. I think it's got to be A. It's definitely not S tier for me. Kind of an overrated POI, in my opinion. It was... I guess there were fun fights, but more than anything, it did lead to a hot drop location, so you knew what you were getting into. That is where the super sweats would land. So you're like, if we can land a Superstore and wipe it, we're winning this match because all the best players in the lobby just landed there. And also back then... it was Battle Royale. I don't know if you guys know, but now they changed the name to Battle Resurgence in game. So you can wipe everybody. It doesn't matter. They're coming back in the gulag. They're landing somewhere else. They're looting. They're going to have a loadout before you even do, even though you wiped them. But back then, that wasn't the case. You wouldn't just immediately come back. So if you wiped a team, you'd be like, wow, we wiped these guys. There's a pretty good chance they're not coming back from this. Yeah, I'm going to throw it an A tier.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Next, we have Prison. Yeah. So this one is maybe the most polarizing POI on this list because there are prison lovers and prison haters. The prison lovers also loved thermal HDRs and the mount mechanic.
And recons.
And variable zoom scopes and recons and helicopters. And then there's the rest of us. So Prison was not fun to fight at ever. Let me be clear. Because there weren't fights. There was teams on the ramparts with claymores and prox mines. And then there was other teams not there. And it was basically impossible to push unless you had a chopper. And if you did have a chopper, it was still going to be very difficult. and you'd have to be a lot better than the people already set up there to overtake it. And if you have the misfortune of being forced to take this POI from someone already holding it, you are severely disadvantaged in a way that I'm not sure existed for any other location ever in Warzone. I don't think there was as dominant of a rooftop you could hold in any BR map at any time ever than Top Prison.
Especially because
it was a ladder. It wasn't even a rappel. It was a ladder to get up.
Yeah.
So dude, you could not get up there.
Well, and
it was really
and then
bad.
Some of those high points too, there would be the vertical ladder inside. So if somebody called in a PA, you would just get on that ladder and start going down and be safe. It's not like you were forced to jump off the highest point. You could just simply go down a ladder and not die to it. It was way too strong. Yeah. And then any end games there, you had underground, you had the prison cell block, you had the ground floor, you had the lower ramparts, you had the higher rampart, whatever. What are those circular things called on a castle or prison, whatever this is?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's a watchtower, maybe?
We'll just call it a watchtower. There's got to be a name for it. We'll call it a watchtower. And then there's the watchtower. So yeah, it was bad. I'm going D. What did you say you were going?
I didn't say. I don't know if it's miserable or D.
It's not. It doesn't deserve to be in miserable, in my opinion.
I think because it was on the such outskirts that it wasn't miserable, because you could easily play for 6 hours and never have to go there once.
Yeah.
It was avoidable most of the time. Sometimes game ends there and then it's miserable, but because it was so easy to avoid, I'll put it in D as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
But only for that reason.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Next is Quarry. So this was the ground war map, the first ever ground war map.
19 ground war map. Yeah.
I'm a big Quarry fan. I really liked Quarry. I thought it was really fun to get in team fights at Quarry, particularly when each team was like on a different row of the buildings, and then like one would have to push the other or whatever.
Inside of those buildings?
Yep.
Yeah,
you could get pushed from underneath. You could get pushed from across the like walkway to the next set of vertical buildings. You can get pushed from up top. But also, this was one of the few areas in Verdansk where the footstep audio was audible because it was all that sheet metal.
Because it was metal. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So most of the time you played on Verdansk, everyone had dead silence permanently. But if you played at Quarry, you would actually be able to hear people. That was also very nice. Was it an S tier? Probably not.
I don't know. No way.
Probably not. I will give it a solid A tier, though. I liked Quarry a lot.
You're giving it an A. Interesting. It was...
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I'm trying to think. It definitely... So that's going to be an interesting one when we get to Verdansk 84 here, because it got worse, in my opinion. A lot worse in Verdansk 84, actually.
With like the salt mines
when it became salt mine, yeah, that's what the POI is named. Quarry, yeah. Some of these areas, to me, like since we played it on Ground War, since the beta of MW19, when it came out in Warzone, it kind of just made it almost old at that point. And it's like, well, I don't want to go here because this area is like nothing new. But it definitely wasn't a bad POI at all. It was fun to fight there. It would be a good area to buy a loadout to. If you landed like on the far north end, there were some buildings down there, or some different buildings that they weren't the main sheet metal 2-story buildings that everyone would fight at. So I feel like it'd generally be a safe place to get a loadout too.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna go. You went A, you said?
I went A.
I think I'm going B.
Going B, huh?
Yeah, I'm going B with Quarry.
It's respectable. Okay, so next we got Shipwreck. So this was not in originally. This is one of those POIs where I
Totally
barely
uninteresting.
remember it.
Yeah.
Have nothing to say. I mean, I never like went there. It wasn't like bad, I don't think, but it wasn't good. Like it wasn't fun to fight there particularly.
There wasn't enough going on there to make it even worthwhile.
It was just super uninteresting. Yeah. Super mid by definition. So it's obviously in C tier.
That's Jake's saying miserable. That's interesting. Cause it wasn't bad. It's just, it didn't matter. That's kind of what it is, which is why it's going to go in C for me. Cause you didn't have to go there enough to hate it, and you wouldn't choose to go there because it wasn't good. So it's just simply going in C. Yeah. And it would probably, at the end of this list, it will probably end up being the last one in C tier because of how uninteresting it is, you know?
Yeah. Super uninteresting. So there you go. Yeah. You know what? I'm looking at my tier list. I'm moving Stadium to a B.
Did you? Yeah.
I have to.
Makes more sense, huh? You're making changes on the fly.
Yeah, I have to do some on the fly changes because Stadium and Shipwreck don't deserve to be in the same tier, in my opinion. Stadium was better than that.
Yep.
Yeah. So, okay, moving on next, Storage Town. This one, I think we're going to have a lot of disagreement, I think.
Really?
A lot of people liked Storage Town a lot. I did not. I thought it was really tedious to have fights here because you could go in every single stupid storage locker. I hated it. I did not think it was good at all. It was, again, tedious to fight in. People would regularly just be hiding, and it was just super boring too. It's like a bunch of little one-story like buildings. One thing I kind of liked about Storage Town was when you're fighting on the outskirts of it. That was really fun because there were those long concrete walls.
Yes.
Or brick walls or whatever. Fighting, like using those as like cover or hopping it and fighting before you get interior of Storage Town. I enjoyed that, but often people would be able to make it into the interior if they felt like they were having a bad time. And then it just became really trash, in my opinion. I would give Storage Town a D.
Wow, that's shocking.
Yeah. Better than Prison, but a D.
Wow, that's very shocking. I think Storage Town with today's mechanics would be very, very fun because it would be the height of ledges where you can jump and mantle over quickly and jump on the boxes, jump on the trucks, get on top of the storage buildings. It would be a really, really fun place to fight in today's game, especially. I thought it was a good POI because it did always feel like that. It was one of those areas where you would get it down, somebody would be shooting you, chasing you, you'd be trying to get away, played up, make a little play on them. It felt like it had a lot of that where it was like, it had a lot of outplay potential almost. Like that's where the really good players could do very well and pick off a team one by one, basically, because of the way it was situated.
That's true, because you could break line so often. So yeah, that's true.
I'm putting it in B.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people liked Storage Town.
Yeah.
Which I respect. I kind of get it. I just...
That was the weapon leveling
I grant
spot
all your
too,
points,
in Plunder.
But
gotta give you some
that
points
was
for that.
The designated leveling spot. Yeah. So anyway, moving on. This one is going to be interesting. I'm very curious what you think. Hospital. Man, here's the thing about Hospital for me. If we're talking about 90% of the time, if you were at Hospital, what that meant was you were fighting on that one rooftop or one level down to where the interior rappel is. And when you're like shooting off that rooftop to another rooftop, that was common. Or you were fighting in that one little room with the interior rappel. I really liked all of that aspect of Hospital. I thought that was super fun. However, unfortunately, there was also the inside of the building itself. And this was awful to fight in. Fighting inside of the Hospital was terrible. So this one is very much, for me, dependent on whether we're talking rooftop fighting, which was really good, like A tier, or inside of the Hospital, which is either D or miserable for me. Really bad fighting inside the Hospital. Most of the time, however, people would fight on the rooftops of hospital. But because the interior exists, I can't give it the A. I don't think I can even give it the B. I think it's a high C for me.
Yeah, looking at the image, I'm thinking, oh, like, I liked hospital. But then the more I sit here and think about it, I remember us always dreading having to rotate from train past hospital. We would always try to just, half the time we would go around it because we didn't want to go towards hospital because of those roofs. Because it's interesting you're saying you liked fighting on the roofs because there was never any rooftop fighting. It was one team was on a roof sniping the people below. There wasn't rooftop fighting ever.
There was a lot from, like, one team would be on the roof where the helipad is.
The taller roof, yeah.
And then another team would be on the tallest roof.
Yeah, okay.
Those were pretty fun. Or even if you were like one team on the helipad and then another team on the rooftop that is to the right in the image I provided. Those fun gunfights were actually really fun, I thought.
Best thing about Hospital is the ridge line to the west of it. That's the best part about the POI.
True.
That was a fun ridge line to fight on.
Yeah, it's a shame that those aren't POIs.
Name that ridge line, yeah.
Yeah.
That should be a name.
Or
POI.
like the eastmost rolling hills, like east of the eastmost fire station.
Yeah.
God. That was like an S tier POI, but it's just not named. So, but anyway, yeah, Hospital's a high C for me. Where are you putting it?
That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm sitting here looking at this map and I just want to throw out a little appreciation. This little area right here is goated. I mean, we had Storage Town, Superstore, Boneyard, Train Station, and Hospital all in one small area of the map. That's a goated area. That's a really goated area to fight in, man. You don't see that anymore. You just don't. It goes from like, oh, here's a good POI, or here's like a pretty good one next to it, and then it's miserable right next to it. That was a nice little cute area right there. Thinking I agree with you, because like looking at my list, I should have put Stadium to start with in C, actually. Dang. I don't want to just keep moving these, though, because I'll be moving them the whole time then.
That's okay.
Okay, this will be my only move, because Stadium's actually uninteresting the more I think about it, or OG Verdansk Stadium. So I think Hospital's got to go B then. Yeah, Hospital has to go B. So Hospital's going to be next to Storage Town and Quarry for me.
Okay, there you go.
And it's, I think, because of that ridge line. It's a great area to fight and then rotate into Hospital.
Yeah, that was really fun. I liked, like, by the way, there is something to be said for outside of Hospital where the buy is. That area was cute. Mm-hmm. I liked that area as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on to the train station. So according to Jake, the train station was closed in regular Verdansk.
Yeah, so it's just the rooftops.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when it was just rooftops, I still liked it a lot.
I did too.
I thought it was, they were rooftops, but there were like so many and they weren't super tall. And there was a lot of fighting where everyone's on the same, not the same roofs, but roofs in the same POI. I thought it was solid. It got better when it opened up. But even prior to that, I think it's a solid B tier.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Solid B tier.
I think it's going to go in B. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Train's going in B. OG train.
Yep.
Next up, Park. I literally don't remember this. That area. Okay.
I don't know at all either. So let me pull up the map.
It's south of downtown. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Nothing's there.
I don't know why that was even named, to be honest. I mean, I don't even want to put this on my tier list. The little
alien sculpture, right?
Something like that. Should we even put this on there, or should we just skip Park and pretend it doesn't exist?
No, we got to put it on there, man.
We're just throwing it in C then, because it's uninteresting.
It's just a C tier. It's just the most mid.
Nothing wrong with it, just very forgetful.
Yeah. It had the buy, so it was a good regain spot if you had a lot of money. I do remember landing there a lot to regain because it had a lot of money. And you would often get in gunfights with teams rotating in from Prom East, and they would have to cross the canal, and you would really be able to fry people.
Yeah.
If you were in Park, which was fun. But that was like the only time it was relevant. And then you would usually rotate up to Fire, loot that, maybe take the roof of Fire, control it, and then keep going into downtown. So, yeah. Anyway, moving on. Millie. Oh,
Ooh, wow.
boy. Millie.
Yeah.
Wow. What can you say about military base, man? This was a giant POI. And I loved military
I
base.
did too.
God, it was fun. It had a lot going on. It had the little buildings, but they were fun to fight at, the little like tents. It had that big hangar. It had, of course, the runways. It had that huge like edge of the map to the north of it where a lot of people would snipe. Games would end there. I really enjoyed that as well. Man, getting there was fun. Like fighting on the outskirts to the south as well were great.
Yeah.
I don't know if this goes in S or A for me. That's where I'm at so far. I need to do a think. Is it better than Quarry? Yes. Is it S tier? No. I don't think it's S tier. I think it's a high A for me, though.
Fighting was really
POI.
fun at Millie, yeah.
I love
I'm surprised,
Millie.
really. Jake, you don't like Millie? That's interesting. Millie was one of our favorite places to land. That was one of our probably top 3 POIs to land at on Verdansk, actually, was Millie.
Great POI. So fun. So many good memories.
You are right, though. Those endings up there, terrible. This was a great area to snipe, though. You know, like just because it's all flat, so people would be crossing in the open, and I'd just be dinking up heads.
Yeah.
Helicopter spawn. God, there maybe have been 2 helicopter spawns there. A lot of vehicles. I liked it a lot. I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go A tier for Millie. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a high A. That's a high A for me.
Yeah.
Next, I think you and I are gonna agree on this, but a lot of listeners are not.
We're going lumber.
We're going lumber.
Yeah.
Lumber. This was an unpopular POI for most people because it was on the edge of the map. There's just some lumber, some wood, some buildings, not too much going on, but that's kind of why it was a sleeper POI. It was a couple buildings, enough such that if you landed there and looted the whole POI, you absolutely have loadout, and there's a buy station there, and then you can rotate into wherever you want.
Good area to get set up.
Yes, exactly. It made it a very safe drop spot. And also, if you did happen to get in a gunfight in lumber, they were pretty fun. They weren't the best gunfights, to be clear, but it wasn't the worst area to fight in either. I give lumber a B.
It was a
solid
cute. There were a lot of variations of fighting there, I guess, because you had the sheet metal buildings that were like 2 stories. Yep. People could also get on those roofs. Then one of those had a sky bridge that went to another building. So you can cross on the roof, you can cross through the sky bridge. On the other end, the west end, there are normal houses. In the middle area, it's all piles of wood. There was a lot of variety there, I feel like.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, I think it's got to go B, though. I really liked it, but it wasn't superstore or military for me.
Yeah.
And I think probably mostly because it wasn't hot enough usually.
It was not hot. Yeah, that was kind of the appeal a lot of times, though.
Yeah, I was
You're
like
having a bad game if a lot of spin botters are online.
I think that's what it was.
We can at least get loady.
That's what it was when we'd be getting farmed. We're like, all right, let's just go lumber. Yeah.
Yep.
That's what it was too.
It was like our
our
safe space. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
What's next?
Huge boners next. My huge boner. Oh my God.
Oh,
Boneyard.
No.
Oh, wow. I loved this place. I loved the fighting in here. It's big and open and fairly flat, but there weren't the long sight lines because of all the destroyed planes everywhere. And like all of them, you can go in. You couldn't like go on top of most of them, which was nice. So like there weren't people just with an advantage because everyone was kind of on the same level. Even there was like, it's not a flat POI, but there are little hills. And even just those little variations make a big difference in cutting line of sight, getting some really fun snipes. I loved Boneyard so much.
Yes, it had a ton. It was It was so we have our first S tier, obviously. It was the perfect POI. I mean, it was, it was like flat-ish, but there was definitely elevation cover to take. And also because all of the cover isn't buildings, they were not uniform at all. Because it was there were some buildings, but a lot of it was the fuselages, like broken down planes. So all the cover was kind of like not evenly spaced, and it wasn't like this building and then that building. It was all like every piece of cover was different from each other one. It had the buy station, the gunfights there. No one had a clear advantage. Every gunfight at Boneyard was kind of heads up. Like you wouldn't be like massively advantaged because you landed at this, 737 made by Boeing versus other 737 made by Boeing. It was always like a fair fight. And it was I think it was the perfect POI. This is my first absolutely indisputable S tier POI. Great to land there, great to fight their mid game, great to fight their end game.
I agree.
Great to regain there. I mean, it was perfect. There was nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. I agree.
It was an S tier POI.
Should we just throw Boner Dog from 84 in there now too? Because I don't remember the differences. I feel like it was perfect in both of them.
Yeah, let's do that.
We're throwing both of the boners.
I'm throwing Boneyard in there at S tier again. Yeah, the perfect POI.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, next is Port.
Not a perfect POI. Yeah.
Oh, certainly not a perfect POI. No, it was not perfect.
I don't know what to say about it. There was too much going on. There were too many weird size and shaped buildings with windows and rooftops in weird areas. It was nothing about it was fun to fight there. You were always either at too much of an advantage or an extreme disadvantage.
Yeah. And it felt like you would never fight in the same building as anyone else ever. It was always like one building to another, with rare exceptions. Port was a bad POI for sure. And it wasn't good either. And even if you wanted to camp, it wasn't very good. Yeah. It's like the rooftops would be strong enough to where you would dunk on people who are also in port on the ground, but they would be terrible for like people coming with choppers to land on you or something. I don't know. It just wasn't good. It wasn't fun. There was the overpass, and people, that's another thing. If people just drove by on the overpass and got out, all of a sudden your rooftop is trash. So like nothing really good about it. Wasn't even really good to regain there because the buildings were pretty spread out. So you'd have to like loot one building and then run for like 20 minutes to the next one. This is a D tier for me.
It's between D and miserable for me. I can't quite figure out where to put it.
Wow.
Because we hated Port, man.
Port was never good.
Wasn't fun to land. Wasn't fun to loot.
Get in the cranes too. Remember that? And if you wanted to do a scav here, we would avoid picking up scavenger contracts because they would make you climb up the cranes.
Every time.
Open the next scav box. So you couldn't even like land here and do contracts, even if it was empty.
I think it's going miserable, man.
Climbing the ladder.
I think it's got to go in miserable.
It's miserable for you, huh?
I think it is.
Interesting.
I really think it is. There's no redeeming qualities.
That's true, but it's a cut. Promenade East is a cut above Port in being bad. I don't think I can put it in miserable, but I can absolutely put it in D.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
It could go either way for me, but I'm going to leave it in miserable, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Next is Hills. Okay, this is the alien statue one.
This is the little neighborhood. Okay. Kind of an underrated POI. It was just so tiny.
It was underrated.
It was just so small that you didn't think about it usually. And then the issue is it's next to prom. So you kind of, it's considered landing close to prom. And then if you go west, you're at the edge of the map. There's nothing there. And if you go east, you're at Park, another boring POI. And then next to Park is downtown and Port, two really bad POIs again. So it's kind of sandwiched in an awful area of the map, unfortunately. But if you count it for what it is by itself, fun to fight there, I think. I'm going to put hills in... I think it's just got to go C. It doesn't stack up in the B category, but it's not bad like D. It'd be like a high C, I think. I'm going to put it probably as my number 1 in C.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment because you raise a great point. If hills were somewhere else on the map, this is an easy B tier POI for me. I actually liked fighting at the little cul-de-sac and like those little houses or whatever. It was actually pretty fun. And I enjoyed it. But the problem was there's nowhere to go. Rotating out anywhere is bad. You can go east to get to Promenade East or Park. And again, there's nothing going on. Or you could go west to get to the edge of the map. And if you wanted to like rotate to train station, the closest good POI, you'd have to go directly through Promenade East/West, which wasn't good. So it wasn't a good area of the map, but in and of itself, it was a very solid POI. So were it not for the bad real estate location, it would be a B tier for me. But because of where it's located, I agree, it's a C tier. Yeah. So where in C tier is it? Ooh, boy. That's a good question. I think it's... Is it better than Park or worse than Park? I think it's better than Park, and I think it's worse than Prom West because it's not as close to anything good. So that's where I'm going to put it. In between Prom West and Park for me on the C tier.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
So, yeah. So next we have the Dom.
I mean, not much to say. It's a dam. It's not fun. It's in D tier. Simply in D.
I did not like it. Ultimately, yeah, not much to say. Rotating, well, there's a decent amount to say, actually. Getting held by someone who's on top of dam and you're not really sucked a lot. I remember losing probably in total 5 to 10 games because of gas. And you literally can't walk up and you just died. I played a lot of Verdansk, so it's not like it happened often, but it happened often enough. I also remember fighting on that frozen lake north of the fire station at Dam, and those fights always sucked a lot and were not good. My only real interaction with this that was remotely positive was rotating to military base from Dam, and that region is fun to fight to the east of Dam, but that's not Dam itself.
Yeah.
I think Dam is a D tier.
Yeah.
For me.
It's similar to Prison in that since it's on the edge of the map, a lot of times it could just be totally avoided. Whereas like Port's in miserable because you often could not avoid it. You had to rotate through it in some way or the other.
Yeah, Dam
and Prison,
avoidable.
though, since they're in opposite corners of the map, you could generally avoid it. But Dam, it's like, there was no loot there. It was like it was the dam, and then you had to jump all the way down and run around so much to get any piece of loot. It's just... not good. This is an area that got a lot better in Verdansk 84 that we'll hit on. So next up here is Farmland. Oh, wow.
Farmland.
Great.
And Lumber are like one and the same to me, kind of.
They kind of mesh together. They could have been considered one large POI, and I would have rated it about the same, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
I love Farm in Ground War.
So Farm was great in Ground War, and I think Farmland's better than Lumber for a couple reasons. It tended to be a lot hotter because it was bigger and there were more buildings, so a lot more loot. So often, this is one of the reasons we liked landing Lumber. Land there, usually no one's there, buy a loadout at the buy station, and then we would go south to Farmland, and there would usually be 1 or 2 teams there. Because it was a hotter area than Lumber. I'll also say gunfights in Farmland, I think, were better than gunfights in Lumber. There was a little more distance between some of the buildings, and the buildings were more interesting at Farmland, I think. Like a lot of the Ground War buildings, for example, obviously were the same in Warzone, and I really liked those. I think Farmland is a B tier as well for me. And I think it's better than lumber as well. So this is a high B for me.
You make a good point. Yeah, it's definitely better. It's better to fight at than lumber.
Yeah.
Lot of little houses, lot more loot because of that, because the way the loot spawned in that game, like every little shack would have a chest basically, so there's more loot in that area. Good contracts there. Man, I'm going between B and A, and I'm not sure where to put it, because it is more fun to fight at than lumber, but was it as fun as like Millie or Superstore for me? I don't know. I think it is. I think I'm going to put a farmland in A tier, actually.
Yeah?
I think
and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think
I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it A tier? You know what? It might be A tier. I think I'm going A as well.
Yeah.
Actually, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I think it's an A. Because the gunfights were so fun there when you had them.
Yeah.
So, moving on, TV station. This POI, I had good times and bad times here. When I think of TV, I think of a lot of really fun experiences and a lot of really awful ones. I think this is a C tier for me.
Yeah. Not much to say on it. I'm also just going C.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't like the inside of it. The inside had a weird layout.
The inside of it kind of sucked. Yeah. Yeah, I don't have much to say, but I think it's a C tier. Yeah. A fairly high C for me. And then the last one is the airport. Oh boy. Wow. This is another one. It's another one of those POIs.
It's one of those POIs to me that's didn't usually go there, but I also didn't completely hate it.
The thing about airport is it's kind of like downtown for me. It's a very big POI. There are areas I really liked and areas I really did not like. So like there was a time where we would land in those like long 2 or 3 story like buildings on the eastern side of airport. And those gunfights were pretty fun. And the loot was pretty good, and it was pretty hot there too, because it was close to Superstore as well. So you'd get a lot of those stragglers as well if you land there yourself. And I enjoyed those. And some of those rooftops were really fun on the very east of airport as well. However, the big western building that a lot of people would camp the rooftop of, and like where the north of the parking garage, didn't love that area at all. I thought those were pretty one-sided kind of cringe gunfights that I did not enjoy. And then there was, of course, the tower as well.
Yeah, the tower ruins it. I hadn't thought about that yet. The tower completely ruins airport. Yep.
Yeah.
Way too strong.
So airport was a polarizing POI. And again, like downtown, I could either give it a B or a D, depending on what part of airport we're referring to. So overall, I think it's a C. I think it's mid.
I'm giving it a D. Yeah, I'm going to give it a D.
Yeah.
And it's because those towers. The hangars were very fun to fight in. That's a good point. The hangars were very fun, but the rooftops were rough. Head glitches, one-shot snipers. The tower too, it wasn't just a tower with windows. There were desks in front of the windows. There were computer monitors, computers, so people could get the nastiest little angles. Where they're barely peeking out and they can snipe you. Overpowered, too strong. You call in an airstrike on it, there's a spiral staircase inside of it. They simply run down. The only other way up, basically, is to take the elevator shaft up, right? So they would just place claymores on it. It's D tier. Airport is D tier. Not good.
Wow. Yeah. The hangars save it from D tier for me, because that was a really fun area. But yeah, I understand D for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that does it for Verdansk.
Yeah.
We have one S tier POI.
Boner
and I think
dogs.
that's fair.
That's from, yeah. Yep.
So, all right. So now we're moving to Verdansk 84. So a lot of these are going to be very similar, but some will be different. Right away, we're going back to airport in Verdansk 84. Did it change at all?
I'm sure it did. Again, I don't remember. Like when I think of Verdansk, a lot of people are able to think of Verdansk and then Verdansk 84. I don't. I just think of like a mesh of POIs from the two of them. So a lot of these will be the same.
With a couple exceptions, yeah.
Yeah, so for me,
put airport, yeah,
I'm just doing it
spot.
D as well because I don't remember.
Yeah.
Array. This is an interesting one, man.
This is
the
an interesting
huge
one.
giant array.
The massive array.
That thing was huge. I don't know if you saw how big it was.
Was really large. Yeah.
Array was fun, man. It was fun being up there real high on those metal walkways. It's like you'd be scared of heights, dude. I started shaking and sweating in real life because I was scared being up there. Ooh, the wind hit different up there. Great area to go up and then jump off and pull your chute, float around the map. It was fun to fight down low. And the best part is it was high up there. You could get up really high, but it wasn't overpowered.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Array was fun. Array was a really fun little POI. It's got to go an A for me, actually. I think that's going to surprise a lot of people. A lot of people probably think it's middling.
That is surprising.
I think I'm going to throw it an A, man. I love that huge giant array. I just loved it.
The massive array.
It looks so funny, too.
Yeah.
It's just goofy looking.
I was going to say exactly what you said, which was it did have, obviously, the array itself, which was super massive and tall and high.
That thing was big, yeah.
And you would think that makes it overpowered, but it was unironically so high that it actually was too high, and it wasn't that strong for that reason. Like, actually, it was a goofy height. So the fighting in the buildings at the base of the array was really fun. And there was like the buy station there too. So it was a fairly hot area, and I enjoyed Array. I have fond memories of Array. This might be a nostalgia pick, but I'm also putting in an A tier.
Yeah.
Does it deserve it?
Probably not. No, I don't know why we liked it so much. We just did.
But the Array it was really fun fighting in those buildings at the bottom of the Array, though, actually.
Yeah.
Like, I did enjoy those a lot. But this is going in A mostly for nostalgic reasons, to be honest. Yeah. I think it is a... Is it better than Farmland? Probably not. It's low A for me.
Yeah.
Low A. So, next is Downtown. So Downtown with Verdansk 84 had all the crevasses. And it also
that wasn't the whole time. Wasn't that just in like the last season or something?
I don't know.
That was later on. I wouldn't even consider that because that would obviously be totally put in miserable. But I feel like that was only for a season or so.
It also had Nakatomi, which had an aura around it, like an RPG that lowered everyone's frames per second by 60%.
I forgot about Nakatomi. Specialist bonus.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So that was not cool, fun, or exciting.
Well,
I think Downtown. I am noticing that building in the image I've provided, though, with the little black dome on it. That was actually kind of a fun, decent little building to fight around.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I don't remember being in original Verdansk. I think Downtown did get better with 84, but not like that much better. I think
that was there, because if you think of the Ground War map, I'm pretty sure that was there.
I don't remember ever being there until
There's
Verdansk
definitely
84,
a building there.
though.
It looks like it just got a little facelift color change in Verdansk 84. I'm almost positive it was there.
Maybe.
Nakatomi. Also, though, Nakatomi would be so fun to fight inside of and on top of because it was so freaking tall. And you could do the specialist bonus and all that, which was fun when you get it. Wasn't fun when anybody else get it. And I think you can get advanced UAVs, foresight and stuff in there. So a lot of action. But that was only, it still just wasn't a good POI.
Yeah, it's a C for me. It's better. It's just right above original Downtown C tier for me.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I'm putting it in C.
Yeah.
84 and more ladders and zips for buildings, making it easier to push. Yeah, I think that's true. Didn't they add a bunch of repels?
Yeah, they did. Yes, they absolutely did. That's a good point. And the central building, like whatever Nakatomi was before it was Nakatomi, Nakatomi was better. Even though it ruined your performance, it was an improvement on that building for sure. That building was way worse to fight at before then. So I think it is better than the original downtown, but not by much in my opinion.
So now
next is farmland.
Yeah, now we're getting to a bunch that are like exactly the same, I think.
Yeah, I have nothing to add about farmland, so I'm just putting it right in A.
Yeah, I'm just putting it right in the other one. Hills, same thing.
Yeah, I don't know if this changed at all.
Probably did. Where did I have hills before? There we go, right in C.
Yep. So let's
right
go
next
in
to
C
that.
for me as well.
Hospital again. I don't even think hospital really changed.
I don't. If it did, I don't remember, so I'm just putting it right there at the top of C again. Lumber, same thing. I don't really recall it changing at all, so it's still high B for me.
Yep.
Military, again.
Changed, I think. I feel like Millie changed quite a bit, didn't it?
Let's look at the screenshot. Did it? I don't
mean, you can't tell from that.
All.
Maybe it didn't. It looks a lot different from this little image. No, I guess it's not. I guess it's not, because that's the area where the tents were. Then that's the tower.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah, I'm putting it in A again. Park, same thing. I just didn't go there, so okay. Port was still miserable. I don't think it changed much at all.
Yeah.
So putting that there.
Prison
did get a little better because I think they added repels like JK.
That's true. Saying. Okay. Still bad though. It's still going to be a D. Yeah.
Yeah, still a D tier, but better than the original. So I'll give it that. Salt mine. Okay. So here is the first one that, yeah, I guess. First one that like changed a lot. So salt mine was quarry.
Yeah.
They added a salt mine and like a little even like cave at the northern end of it. And then they also changed other things as well. And I don't remember what the other changes were. I just remember
the layout was a lot different.
Hating the salt area itself most of the time.
Yeah, they changed the whole layout. Like I remember it was just a bunch of mounds of salt, like it says. I feel like they took some buildings away, and it's just not a fun area to fight when it's a bunch of like white salt mines. I don't know. It was very uninteresting. It got a lot worse than it was. Because what did I have quarry as before? I had it as a B tier. I think salt mines going all the way down in D tier, actually.
Wow.
We completely stopped going there.
Bad.
I mean, we never once went there anymore once they changed it from quarry. I remember us talking about that when we first landed there. We're like, oh, we're not landing. They completely ruined quarry. It's so much worse.
Yeah, I wish I remembered what else they changed about it. But I just remember not liking it.
Yeah, I mean, they basically, they like almost changed everything. I don't even think it was the same layout whatsoever. It was totally different. There were those roads kind of behind it too. Like the big roads for, the salt trucks to go on that kind of wound up to the hills, which they also changed the hills a lot above quarry or above where quarry was, above the salt
buildings.
mine.
They added
like a few little houses,
too.
But it was so far to the edge of the map that it didn't matter. When the end games would be there, the end games would be very fun in those areas when it was in those little hills when they changed that. But yeah, overall, I think it got a lot worse.
I'm going to put it at... I do still remember some of the fights being fun at like the south of Salt Mine. I don't remember it well enough, but I'm going to put it in C. For me.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, Quarry was in A, so it definitely got worse for me.
Yeah.
I just don't remember enough to talk about it. Next is Stadium. This one also changed a lot. There was no longer a rooftop that was cancer, and it was just a bunch of like dirt and some like tractors and stuff at mid. So mid kind of got a little worse in my opinion, but it didn't have, again, the cancer rooftops anymore, which made it better in that respect. So I would say Stadium in 84 was a C tier for me.
What was it before for you?
Yeah, actually,
because I think it got worse in
was a B.
Verdansk 84.
It was a low B for me.
It became, people didn't care about it anymore. Not many people landed there.
Yeah,
And
I
then-
think the loot got worse.
And then like the way, since it was like being constructed, yeah, the loot definitely got worse. And then the way it was being constructed kind of just threw off the whole flow of running through there, I think.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to
Yeah.
drop that down to a D. It's either very, very low C or just high D. I'm just going to put it in high D so people can see that I like it less than the original one.
Let me think. I think this is it was pretty bad. I don't think it was D for me though. I think it was C.
Still C. Yeah,
It's
that's
just
fair.
like, where in C is it? I think I'm going to put it right above Hills. I think that's where it goes. Okay, next is Storage Town. I don't
Same
think
thing
this
as the
changed at
original
all,
one for
really.
me. Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
put that in B. Summit. Okay, here's an interesting one. Summit made Dam so much better. So much
Yeah, it
better.
did.
God, that was a fun area. So they added the horizontal rappels. Or no, it wasn't the it was the cable car thing. So you could jump in the cable cars and they were like always running, and they would go to that one kind of little area in the middle of the POI that you could basically only get to from running underneath it, which was you had to run through like a giant crevice to get to it. Or you would take little cable cars to that area. That was a really fun and interesting place to fight. And that was like new, seeing all that stuff. So that was, I think, a big deal at the time. And that made the POI very fun. A lot of people started going there. The buildings at the POI itself became more fun to fight in.
It was easier to get to it from the south as well.
It was a flatter area. Yeah, there was, wasn't there also like wasn't there a cable car that went from like the top of Summit, like really far east? Or am I just thinking we would always jump off and pull our
south.
chutes?
No, it went really far south to one of the buildings, like almost outside of the POI. And it was almost like a ski lift, because it would go south to a building that was on the ground, and then you could get in it, and then it would go all the way up to the top.
That was an interesting design. I really liked what they did with it.
I liked Summit a lot. I think Summit is it a B or an A is the question that I have to ask myself.
It's not going to be A. It's going to be B for me.
Yeah,
I think.
it's a B. It's a B. You're right. It's not quite an A. It wasn't that great, but it was pretty good. It was fun.
Improved a ton over Dam though, for sure.
For
Night and day.
sure. Yeah. Was it better than OG Train Station? Probably not. Was it better than OG Stadium? Probably. So that's where I'm putting it. Okay. Next is Super. Same shit.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put that right in A tier. Oh, and here we go. I think we got another one to add to the list. Verdansk 84 train station. I'm simply clicking and I'm dragging and I'm scrolling and I'm letting it go in the S tier.
Obviously
Because it's S tier. This was probably
obviously S tier.
In fact, Verdansk 84 train station was probably my favorite POI in Verdansk. I think it was better than Boner Dogs. But that's the great thing, man. They're right next to each other. That's why that area was so nice. You had Boner Dogs and train station right there. I mean, come on.
I don't know, man. Was it better than Boneyard or not as good? God, they were both S tier, obviously. That is indisputable. The loot was perfect. The gunfights inside were almost perfect, although the staircase fights could be a little annoying. The rooftops were great.
Everyone would land on the roof too.
Super overpowered, but you could shoot down pretty reliably. They had the buy station. Oh man. I don't know. I think it is a little better than Boneyard. It's a little less. It's more contained. It's a little smaller than Boneyard, and that I think in some sense makes it better.
Yeah.
A little bit. So yeah, I think it's the best POI so far. Yeah. It opened, Jakin. You could go inside it. Yeah, it was a ton better, ton different.
I don't, or maybe it was open before, but they opened more in Verdansk 84. They definitely changed a bunch in Verdansk 84 with train station though.
Yeah, I'm assuming train station was closed in OG and then opened in 84. So if that's not true, then that would change our ratings, but I don't remember ever going inside train station prior to 84. So I'm pretty sure Jake's right about that. So anyway.
Yeah, they just changed. I don't remember either.
I think it's the best POI in Verdansk history though. Yeah. I think I have to give it to it.
Yeah.
So next is TV station. Same place it was. I don't think it changed at all.
Yep. C tier.
Yep.
And Prom West.
Prom West. It was just as mid.
Prom West changed a little bit, didn't it?
I don't
Because remember, I feel like there was the park in between the rows of, like there was.
Pull up the map.
I mean, this map is terrible. This has like no detail.
Yeah,
it shows
not
nothing.
A good map.
I don't know why all the other ones are so good and this one's terrible. I
don't remember it being any different. Maybe I'm sure it was in some ways, but
yeah, it's just staying the same then.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Factory isn't on here. God dang it. I wish I had included Factory.
Oh, yeah. Dude, Factory was so good. Factory was really good. Why did you forget that?
Can I add one? Add an additional image to your tier list. I can. Yeah. Let me see. Factory, Verdansk 84.
Wow. Factory was really good, man.
I'm going to add it so that we can put it in here. We can't not add Factory. It's just absurd to not do that. So,
Drex said they decluttered West Promenade. I just read the blog post. Yeah, they changed some things. Because remember too, going from road to road, like crossing from the north to the south in Prom West, they added, it's like a little park in the middle. And I remember there were like some little bridges, like some curved bridges, and like maybe they had a little tiny river or something flowing through there. I don't know. It looked better for sure. But even then, it's still saying in the C tier. It wouldn't go up to B for me. Even if you add this, I don't know if it's going to add on mine. It's like I'll probably have to add mine as well. So I think we should just
downloading the image for you.
Oh, okay.
I'm already almost done. So.
Oh wow.
Let's see. There you go. That's a good picture of it too. I think I'm not going to like write the name in, but just download that file and then add it to the tier list.
Okay,
Choose files.
Let's open this.
Downloads. There we go. Boom.
Stop. Verdansk 84 Factory. Let's do that. Let's save that. Let's put it over here. Verdansk 84 Factory. Okay. And then, so then I do, how do I add it now?
Go to the
bottom.
Scroll down.
Oh, choose files.
And then choose files.
I see. Okay. Let's add it. Where is it? Come on. Verdansk 84 Factory. There we go.
Then it should auto-populate.
Oh, there it is. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So Factory, Verdansk 84. Where are you putting that?
Factory. So this was a solid POI. But it was hit or miss for me as well, kind of. The gunfights could be fun, but there was that particular rooftop that was fairly strong. Where am I putting this? I think it's a low B.
It's going to be between B and C for me. I think it's better than everything in C, so I think it's got to go B. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a low B. I think it was better than Stadium, though. Do I think it was as good as Summit?
I'm not really sorting mine very well within the category. That, I don't know. I'm kind of just throwing them in there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Yeah. All right. So there's factory. So the one without text is factory. I tried to pick an image that's like pretty obviously factory. So
by the way, are we going to do all of these, you think? Or do you think we should finish Caldera and stop and do this as like a Warzone 1 POI tier list? Because we're already at hour 20.
Yeah, we could do a part 2 episode later.
The thing is with a part, it wouldn't be nearly as long because there won't be that many POIs left. But I don't know. I think it's going to be way too long if we do all of them.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Second half is much faster, less POIs. Yeah, I don't know.
Let's just get through.
We'll figure out once
Caldera.
we get Caldera finished. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get through Caldera. So, yeah. So that's for Verdansk. Now moving to Caldera.
Look how much more vibrant it is suddenly when you hit Caldera.
I know.
We go from blue in Verdansk to orange in Verdansk 84, and then we finally saw color for the first time in Caldera.
Different colors,
which is why I was originally so excited for Caldera. It looked, oh man, the colors popping. The greens popping, the whites bright. Oh man, it looked good.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Oh yeah. So now we're moving to Caldera, and first we have Airfield.
Oh wow.
Oh,
the famous clip, the most famous Raz clip of all time. I cheated, man.
Oh, the I cheated clip. Yeah, classic.
I'm gonna get some water.
Okay, you do that. Airfield was again a large POI. And it had a lot going on. So there was like the northern part of it where there were a lot of the like one-story little buildings. I don't know what they would even be called, but they were like kind of like half dome shaped and like just like a little rectangle. Those were like kind of fun. There was the little tower that you could get in on like the north end that people would fight in a lot. There was the buy station. But then more interior, like on the south part, on either side of the airstrip itself, there were all of those like tents. There were a couple of the hangars. There was the very tall tower on the south as well. There was a lot going on at Airfield. It was very big. I liked Airfield. I don't think it was the best POI ever. I think it's a solid B tier POI though.
Really?
Overall. Yeah.
Man.
It was pretty fun getting in gunfights there a lot of times. Yeah. It had the balloon. You would have to fight like across the airstrip a lot too. I thought it was good. This is one of those POIs where it's kind of hard because it was so big and there were parts that were miserable.
Yeah.
But even fighting inside of that big building on the south of the airstrip that the buy was attached to, those were actually pretty fun fights in that building. I actually liked fighting inside of it. Or being in that building, looking out of a window, shooting into the tents to your west. That was pretty fun.
Yeah,
too.
there were a lot of tents which were fun to fight in.
Yeah, I think this is a good solid B. A squarely B tier POI.
Oh, the barracks, too, on the northern end of Airfield. Oh, man. Yeah, that is a giant POI. Wow.
Yeah, it's a big POI.
Because I was thinking C or D, but I was thinking the Airfield building, basically. The giant one building and the airstrip. But when I think about everything else, it gets a lot better.
Yeah, exactly.
It gets a whole lot better.
POIs
also,
like
in
this.
Caldera, we had... At times, eventually, we had a lot slower time to kill, and with the fast movement, you could run across the airfield, slide canceling, and actually not die. Like OG Verdansk, you're not running that far of a distance without dying because the time to kill. But Caldera, with the long range time to kill with what it at, your whole team could cross.
And we were in a smoke meta by then as well. So like would smoke it and cross. Yeah.
I don't think
because I think Stims got nerfed like during Rebirth. Oh,
I didn't think we really got to a smoke meta till Mazra, maybe at the very end of Caldera.
No, definitely not.
Caldera, wasn't it?
Because I know Stims got nerfed during Caldera. I'm 1,000% sure of that.
So
I think I don't know.
I don't know, but
either way.
Yeah, I think you're right. Airfield's going B for me.
Yeah, I think overall you got to give it the B.
Yeah, you got to give it the B treatment. Arsenal, oh boy.
I don't remember Arsenal.
Look at the one image of it. It was awful. That little tiny image of it. Terrible.
Oh yeah,
we
Arsenal
never went
sucked.
there. Really bad.
Arsenal sucked.
I'm gonna be honest.
D.
I think we're going miserable.
Really?
I think we're going miserable, buddy. We are. Arsenal was terrible. Yep.
It wasn't miserable for me because, again, this was fairly avoidable. And it could be a good regain spot. We would land there sometimes to regain because it did have a lot of loot and it was pretty easy to just like avoid people if you wanted to. That's what made fighting there suck a lot though, because you could just like hide in a bunch of little corners or buildings or whatever. But there were like select few buildings where it was actually pretty fun to fight at Arsenal. So I don't think it's quite miserable. I think it is a D tier for me though.
Yeah, I can respect that. I'm not mad about it.
Yeah.
Beachhead. Wow. We loved getting head in Caldera. Do you remember how much you loved getting head?
Beachhead was great, dude. Oh, I love.
We got so much head back then.
Yeah,
don't get much these
days,
but back then we did. Yeah.
It was really fun. Very balanced POI. Nowhere was like super advantageous. You could get stuck in the trenches. And that was kind of like iffy, but also it was good cover. So I liked Beachhead a lot. I don't think it's quite A tier for me, but I do think it's a solid B. I think it's a solid B tier POI.
I'm going in between A and B.
Yeah.
And looking at my list that I have on A, I don't think it belongs with them. I think it's got to be about one of the top few in B. Yeah. We're going to just toss that ride in B here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Beachhead's going B. Cool.
Yeah, Beachhead was great. I liked Beachhead. Next is Capital. So this is going to be another polarizing one. This was the downtown of Caldera, but it wasn't bad like downtown was. However, it also wasn't super great. The image or the building in the image, for example, that we were at that building a lot. You would often, because right next to it, you can see is that huge hill. So you would very often rotating into Capital, parachute off of that hill and land on the roof.
And there was a balloon right there at that building too, right behind it.
And there was a balloon next to it as well. And there was the buy station. I thought now keep in mind, Capital's a lot bigger than just that building. If you pull up the whole image, you can see all south of that building and east of it is a bunch of other buildings that were not terrible, but not great. I think Capital was pretty good though. I want to give it a low B, I think. I thought it was ultimately pretty fun. Because if you were on a rooftop in Capital, you weren't like super advantaged like you were in like
there was a
downtown
lot of building fighting in there too, and a lot of those buildings were completely different layout, so that made it interesting. And the biggest thing is on one of the spots we'd often go to was on the northeast side of Capital, kind of basically between Capital and Resort. Remember, there was. It's almost like where Capital ends, there is a river running through and there's a bridge that goes over. When you cross that bridge, there was like an apartment complex or something, a couple houses, and on the other side of the street, a taller building that had a ladder to get up to that roof. We would specifically land right there very often, which is considered the Capital POI. Capital is, I mean, out of all like the downtowns we've had, Capital is the best downtown we've had because of... It's not a bunch of very, very, very high rooftops. And it was really good looking. Capital was an excellent looking place to fight because they did a good job at that. Now, is it going B or C for me? I think it's got to go C, unfortunately. Doesn't stack up with the Bs. It's got to go C, though. It's
a solid B for me, but I respect it.
Yeah. This next one pisses me off.
Dig site. So this is where we came up with the phrase POU, because I remember they added this, I think at the same time they added the King Kong event, that miserable event. And we were like, wow, they added dig site, a new POI. And then we went there and started laughing at how nothing was there. This is the definition of a mid POI.
No.
I mean, it was not good. It wasn't like bad, I guess, but there was just nothing going on. This was an absolute POU.
No, this one was personal for me. This is miserable. This is personal. Because they overhyped this. That's why. They hyped it up so much. I just pulled up the blog post. Let's see what they said about it. Dig site provides operators the opportunity to rummage through abandoned excavation equipment, tents, and massive skeletons for supply boxes and other items. They spawned 3 supply boxes at the POI, and they made it sound... I remember looking at this. We looked at these images. We're like, oh, maybe you can go inside the dig site, the skeleton's mouth, and you can walk and there's like a tunnel system. No, it was a skeleton on the ground. There was no loot. There was nothing there. Nothing there. It was terrible. And they overhyped it, so it's super personable. Personable. It's super personal that they ruined it. They overhyped it. This was a classic Ted overhype. Terrible POI. It's not that bad. It really isn't, but I can't not put it in miserable because it pissed me off so much when they added it. And we were so excited to go there. And then we looked at it. We said, okay, never landing here again. Okay.
I remember we started laughing.
Chuckled. We did a laugh.
Dude, nothing is here.
Miserable.
Yeah. Yep. Totally.
You know what?
Fair.
You know, we're adding a row below and I'm just naming it dig site and it's going there. Yeah,
Got it.
It's in its own tier now. It's below miserable because it pissed me off. Anyways, docs.
Docs, yeah. Docs is I barely remember it. They modeled it after shipment, or at least part of it.
One little area, yeah.
Oh, is this that had that awful campable building? Docs was not good. It was D tier. If I'm thinking of where I'm thinking of.
Again, Docks has a really bad side and a decent side. The west side of Docks and like the southwest of it, closer to Factory, okay. Once you got deeper into it, further west, further northwest, and just north, actually, terrible. So I think you're right, and I think that's fair. It's got to go in D tier.
Yeah. I think it's a... Yeah. Yeah, it's D tier.
Yeah.
It's definitely better than Damn. I just don't remember it very much, but yeah, okay. Next is Factory. Oh boy.
Wow.
This is either A or S for me, and I don't know which. I loved Factory. It was probably our most visited POI in Caldera, for sure. We loved dropping there. We loved going there mid-game. If you could hold people that were coming from the... Where's Factory on this map? It's not here. Whatever.
It was added later.
If you could...
Wasn't there
if you could, okay, yeah. If you could hold people coming from the hills in some direction, it was really fun too. The loot was excellent. It had the buy station. The fights there were very fun. I don't know. It's not S tier though. No, it's not S tier, but it is A tier. It's a solid A tier. I think it's even for me a high A. I really liked Factory. I just don't think it deserves the nod for S tier. So I'm giving it a high A.
It doesn't, and you're absolutely right, but that was our spot on Caldera always. Once they added it in, we never stopped landing there. So I kind of have to give it an S tier.
Yeah, that's fair.
Is it actually S tier? I don't know. Are some of is like Superstore, Farmland, Array actually better? Probably, but I can't not put it in S because that's the only place we ever went and landed. And it also had, I don't know, $80,000 there.
So much money.
And it had a balloon and it had a buy station. You landed, cleared it out, looted everything. You had everything you needed. You'd hit a balloon right next to you and you'd be gone. Just fighting teams. Great starting location.
Yeah. So next is Fields. Huge POI if you look at the map.
Insane. Yeah, it's half the map.
Very flat. A lot of small buildings, no crazy rooftops or anything.
Just yeah.
You were surrounded by people that had more elevation than you. But they were also pretty easy to avoid because the POI is so big. I think this was a good POI. I think it was a B.
We liked Fields a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
We landed there quite often.
It was solid.
This was probably a top 3 landing spot for us.
Yeah.
When I think of Caldera,
a good regain spot too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got to go B.
Better than Airfield,
right.
Worse than Beachhead.
That's the actual area around it. You're right. Sucked. But when you're only fighting teams inside of fields in the houses, it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Jumping on those roofs when they buffed the mantling, so you can get up on all those roofs quickly. Yeah, Fields is B.
Yeah. Next is Lagoon.
Oh wait, was the drop spot considered in Fields? Yeah, it was just on the edge of Fields. You're right.
Oh,
yeah,
it
good
did
comms,
have the
Jake.
drop spot.
It did have the drop spot, which we found. That's why we called it that.
That's true. Oh, it did have the drop spot.
It was the cul-de-sac before Airfield.
That was considered Fields? Yeah, I guess it was.
Yeah, Fields is huge. That's what it's kind of hard to gauge because half of Fields too is just mountains.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'll keep it in B.
Yeah.
Next is Lagoon.
Not good.
Oh, this place sucked. Lagoon sucked.
Get stuck trying to cross the water in the open.
Yeah.
Question is, are we going D or miserable?
I don't think it was quite miserable, but it certainly wasn't good. It's either D or miserable. Yeah, it's one of those two. I think for me, it's D, being realistic. It's a low D, though. Like, is it better than Port? Yeah. Is it better than Arsenal? No. So yeah, I think it's a D. Just squarely in the D category. That's where I'm putting it. Next is Mines. Oh, Mines! I like Mines.
I was muted. Yeah, hold on. Jake, you're right. Arsenal is not what I was thinking. I was basing it off of just that image. You're right. That is insane that I put it there. I thought Arsenal was, I think...
Oh, is this where I got bombered?
I'm getting Arsenal like confused. Yeah. I'm getting Arsenal confused with like Subpen or something. You're right. Arsenal is not miserable. It's not. We actually went Arsenal a lot.
We liked Arsenal.
That area of Arsenal in that little image there where it's like a big crater.
I got it mixed up.
Yeah, we actually liked Arsenal a lot. So actually that's going to, I think, go all the way from miserable to probably a low B for me. Yeah, that is.
Arsenal was good. You're right. Yeah,
it's not what I was thinking at all. Okay.
I totally forgot. Yeah, I was thinking of Docks.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Arsenal needs to get moved swiftly.
We went there all the time.
I had it in D. It is not a D. Yeah, it is a B for sure. I actually really liked that. Where that helicopter would be. This is where I got dive bombered. To the north west a little bit on that tip, there was that other building that had like the electrical grid or whatever. Yeah, Arsenal was pretty good.
Yeah, the giant buildings
was good as
had
well.
Barracks there.
Yeah, this is squarely in the B.
It had that other interesting building with the roof, and then in the middle it was open, and you can look down, and it was kind of like it's like an apartment building or something. That was an interesting building there. Yeah, Arsenal was good. So Lagoon though. Was Lagoon miserable or is it D tier? It's tough, man. I think it's got to go D tier for me.
Yeah, I put it in D as well. There are only a few miserable POIs.
It's actually only 2 so far. Really, it's just 2 It's Prom East and Verdansk 84 and Port in both.
Yeah. Yeah. So, next we have Mines.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, Mines. Okay, Mines was Mines was a good POI.
We liked Mines, yeah.
We liked Mines. It was also pretty annoying because it was in a valley. So every surrounding area again had a lot of elevation on you. And that did create problems. But they were usually avoidable enough. The big problem was having to rotate out of mines because of gas. You would get held reliably because you would have to climb. You'd have to like walk up the hill rather than balloon because the balloon's in gas or whatever. That would happen pretty often. I think mines is a low B for me.
Yeah, you know what, man? Oh. Man. I kind of want to put it in A.
Really?
It's low A or a high B.
The gunfights there were good, but they weren't that good. I didn't love them.
You
honestly.
know, I think a lot of it was actually, maybe I liked it because we would be on the hills above mines shooting down at everybody inside mines, which is actually why I liked it. That was fun,
yeah.
right? Being down in mines wasn't great when everyone had a no recoil, fully automatic gun with a 6x zoom optic that still had less recoil than we have with red dots now still.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's tough. You know what? Yeah, it's for sure gonna be a B then.
Yeah.
Always a very hot area though. Everyone's always around there. Mines was always hot, which made it fun.
Yeah. Next we have our first.
Wow.
I think not our first, but we have Peak. So this was the only other hot drop we've ever had in Warzone, besides Superstore. Peak was, man, what is there to say about Peak? It had 2 iterations. I would say both were good. The gunfights, if everyone is in Peak, were actually quite fun. And I think relatively balanced. There was the one spot that was a little stronger than everywhere else on like the northwestern tip, if I'm recalling correctly. But there were a lot of repels. There was a helicopter. There was a buy. There was an ammo refill. I think Peak is an A, a low A. That's where I would put it.
Peak's a tough one because it changed many times.
It did change. It did be changed.
I mean, in Caldera, Peak was like totally revamped, what, 3 times? Like very different. So it's kind of hard to gauge it. So I always thought Peak was overrated. I thought the actual POI itself wasn't good. It's just, it was fun because it was a hot drop location, usually the hottest point. Peak was the superstore.
Yes.
You know, so that's where all the super sweats went, generally, was Peak, because after that, you can go anywhere on the map pretty much, because you were basically in the middle and you were very high up. And then at one point, I don't remember if it was on launch, but they had the balloon, I don't think it was on launch, coming out of the underground area. So you'd hit that balloon right in the middle of the POI and go flying somewhere. But I never liked the POI that much. Yeah. I think it's just got to go B for me. This is one of the overrated POIs.
Parachute off of.
Yeah.
And we can't forget about that. You could go anywhere on the map.
You got to think Peak too. When you have to rotate into Peak, it went from, if you thought it was an S tier, that takes it down to miserable if you had to rotate
for
in.
sure. Absolutely.
A totally unbalanced bad POI.
And that is
saved by hot dropping on at the start of the match, pretty much.
And saved to some degree by balloons as well.
Yeah, so it'll
if you were able to balloon up to it, you wouldn't be like totally screwed. But if you were in some region of the zone where that wasn't possible, then it became, miserable. So yeah, I think it's a low A. That's where I put it. But yeah. Next is Power Plant. This is, I think, the first very mid map or POI for me. It was fine.
Yeah.
I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I don't have any strong feelings particularly about it. The gunfights that took place in the POI were fine. They weren't great. They weren't terrible. It just didn't have much going for it or against it. I think it's just very mid. Yeah, I agree with you. Mid POI.
And it's so much that I actually kind of like forget it. I'm trying to find another image of it again. Like I remember it, but I want another image to see another angle. Here it is, Power Plant. There just wasn't really anything going on.
Yeah.
It's like 3 buildings right in the middle of it. It's just simply going to go in C tier. It was fine.
Yeah.
But not fun
like
or
literally
anything.
In the middle of C for me, yeah. Next is Ruins. Okay. So we might have our first miserable POI for me from Caldera. Ruins was awful. Nothing was going on there. The gunfights there were not fun.
Awful.
The loot wasn't good. Where it is on the map is bad also. I mean, you're not really close to anything interesting except Arsenal, kind of.
Yeah.
Is it D or is it miserable is the question.
That's
I think it's miserable.
the thing.
I think it's a miserable POI.
Shadows, yeah, good point. The shadows were awful. Remember how dark
Visibility
that
was also really bad. That's
You're
a
right.
great point.
It's got to go in miserable. Yep, it sure does.
I think it's miserable. Yeah.
It is. Ruins is bad. Again, it's far worse than Dig Site, but Dig Site is still in its own category below miserable just
Right.
because.
Right.
So
Next, this one's going to be hard because there were two different iterations. It's Runway. So Runway before the revamp was very mid. Nothing was there. But then they revamped it and added all those little barracks. And then it was like pretty fun.
Yeah, Runway actually got really good, I think, because of that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it went from being a C to being a B for me. So like we said, we're going to judge every POI on its best iteration. So we'll say Runway post revamp where they added more stuff. Was it great? No, but it was good. I'm trying to decide if it was high C or low B.
I'm doing C. It's got to be C. Think
Yeah,
about
think
your
it's just a high
Bs. Look in
C.
your Bs. It wasn't better
Yeah,
than
exactly.
Arsenal. It wasn't better than Factory. It wasn't better than Summit. It can't be. It doesn't compare to any of those. So it's C. Pretty uninteresting.
Yeah, high C. Yeah.
A lot of endings there, it felt like. Didn't we have a lot of matches end at Runway? Is that what I'm thinking of?
There were a decent amount for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of.
And those were often very one-sided because there was a lot of open space there.
Yeah.
So if you had the cover and they didn't, you just auto win and vice versa. Yeah, I think it was okay, but not great.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know what? It's not even high C. It's mid C for me, actually. The more
Just
I think
mid,
about
yeah.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
So next up here is going to be Storage Town. So Storage Town, basically a copy and paste from Verdansk. It was
but in a
never
worse spot on the map.
very popular because they just simply placed it in the most random area of the map that had nothing going on. So even after that, it never gained popularity, really. It just, it didn't make any sense where it was. It made no sense whatsoever. Also, my favorite, one of my favorite Warzone 1 Caldera clips came from Storage Town when Rated died to a precision airstrike through the wall in a tournament that I'm pretty sure cost him thousands of dollars dying to an airstrike through the wall. So that's funny. I like that. I love when people get mad because the bad video game made them lose thousands of dollars. He shouldn't have been standing there, of course. But it was just, I mean, like I said, it's basically the same POI as in Verdansk, but it was in a terrible area. So it just didn't get any traction. So it's either, I mean, I guess it's probably just going to be at the the very bottom of C for me.
Yeah, this is a D for me.
It made that area of Caldera better still, I think. Maybe it actually didn't.
I don't remember exactly.
Maybe it didn't.
But it was not good.
It was just rolling hills there. So if anything, it flattened an area out that was too hilly.
I don't remember.
No, I think you're right. It should gotta just go D. Yeah, it's going D.
Yeah, I did not like it at all.
Subpen.
Better than Docks, though.
Subpen's really bad, man.
Oh, Subpen. Was it, though? It was kind of fun landing on the roof and getting in those fights. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, the landing.
I don't think Subpen was that bad, actually. I kind of liked Subpen.
The building itself was rough. The building itself was really bad.
The building
especially
was
when we had
rough.
terrible footstep audio back then.
Yeah.
The different areas, even the roof wasn't great to fight on because there were a bunch of slopes, so people would get nasty headies. I did not like Subpen whatsoever. Just, again, the outside barracks.
It had the balloon there. It had the buy.
It's going D for me.
It's a C for me. I don't think it was that bad.
I'm actually moving.
It certainly wasn't great.
I'm just moving Caldera Storage Town back up to the bottom of C, actually, because it's a lot better than Subpen was. Yeah, Subpen's D.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
weird how so many of these are just forgetful to me, especially in Caldera.
Forgetful.
Village?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what do we have next? Village.
Village is the... Okay, yeah, Village was next to where they added Storage Town. It was right down the hill from Storage Town.
Yeah, this POI also sucked a lot.
And the game always ended there. It always ended there. You remember that, man?
I do.
This is where... I remember Jake had one of his famous clutches there, which doesn't happen often because he doesn't know how to clutch usually. But I remember he had a crazy win for us one time there. He was like sitting on the edge of the water. His loadout was like basically on the side of the hill going down into the water because half the time your loadouts would just drop in inaccessible areas of Caldera. So he was like barely able to get it. Yeah, maybe it was Raz. So then Raz, like he made these smart plays, hid in bushes, did like a 1v3 or 1v4 at the end to win us the game. Raz,
that was me.
Raz the clutch demon, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I remember about that POI.
Yeah,
so what do we do in D?
It's a D.
Yeah, it's D.
It's a D. Yeah, Village was not good. Next is Resort. And next and last for Caldera is Resort.
Yeah.
This was interesting. So I kind of liked Resort, but the one building was very strong on the rooftop.
It sure was, yeah.
It was very strong, and that really hampered it. But besides that, it was pretty good. I think this is absolutely a C tier on the whole.
You're going that low. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it was not very good. Not too much going on besides the one very strong building. And that was kind of it. I mean, there was like the bus station area. If everyone was on the level, those were fun gunfights. But again, usually that was not the case. Usually someone was, or you were on that roof shooting down at people. I just don't think it had enough going on. I did not like it very much, but it wasn't terrible. So I think this is absolutely C tier for me.
That's interesting, man. So I'm going to piss all of you off a lot right now. I loved Resort because this is the first spot we landed. This is the first spot we ever landed on Caldera. We landed at the beach bar. We took a look around. We said, "Ooh, boy, I love this map." We hated it a week later. But it's got that going for it. More than anything, I love the design and the thought of a beach resort on a Warzone map. Something about Caldera gave me that feeling at so many of the POIs, and I still think about that. Caldera felt like the most lived-in real BR map that we've ever had in Warzone. Whether or not you like the map or not, it gave me that strong vibe, and Resort did the best job at doing that. It felt like I was running around a resort. I liked it. It was cute. It was different. It was colorful. Was that big building there just terrible? Oh, yeah. Awful. Really bad. But I'm going to put Resort in the A tier. I have to.
That's wild.
It's kind of like how Factory's going in S. I have to do it. I know you're all furious about it. It doesn't deserve to be an A, I know, but it's going there. It just doesn't. But it has to.
Just for nostalgia's sake. Yeah, that's
It's got to go there, you know, man?
I respect it.
Yeah.
I respect the
big
nostalgia
resort guy.
pick.
I love resorts. Yeah. I'm a resort goblin.
Okay.
We're done.
And that's it.
Okay.
So this episode is now our Warzone 1 Big Map POIs tier list episode. We may or may not do a follow-up episode. We may have a separate tier list for the other POIs or put them all in one big one. But in the meantime, I'm going to press the save or download button now. I'm going to press the download image button. And then I'm going to post this in Discord in the Warzone general chat. And I'm going to pin it. So if you guys want to see, if you're listening for early access, you guys can go to the pin messages in the Discord Warzone general. You can find my tier list and you can find Tanner's as well. If you're not listening early access, then these will be provided via direct link in the show notes for you, as well as your own tier maker also.
Yeah,
which
okay,
I will
got
also
mine downloaded there. Okay. Yeah, so if anyone cares, here's the last little look here. I'll go slow and kind of scroll. If you're watching a video, you can pause. So yeah.
We did it.
Yeah, we did do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let us know, what you guys thought about this. If you say, oh, that's terrible, don't ever do that again, there won't be a part 2. If everyone's like, that's the best idea you've ever had, good job, Raz, for that idea, good job, Raz, for making that tier list, I beg of you to do another one. We'll have Raz make another one, and he can do that, because he did a good job on this one. Generally, he did forget a couple things, because he's a stupid idiot, but, next time we can...
Also.
It took way too long. I mean, it should have been done in like 30 minutes, but you're slow and dumb. So yeah, maybe we'll do this. If you don't care about the map one, maybe we'll do guns instead next time.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, just let us know. So yeah, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Depending on your feedback, we'll do another one. We'll do the other big maps or Resurgence or whatever.
Resurgence.
Stay humble.
Yeah. Okay. Stay humble.